I pulled the trigger on my old life 5 years ago, but it was Harlan's bullet that lodged in my back. Not literally, God.
No.
That would be too clean for a snake like him, but figuratively, it might as well have been. I took the fall for his embezzlement scheme, rotting in a federal pen while he sipped single malt in his corner office overlooking the Hudson. And the kicker? He sent me a goddamn Christmas card from the outside, signed with a flourish. Miss you.
Partner.
Stay strong. As if we were still the unbreakable duo who'd built Voss and Harlan from a dingy loft in Brooklyn into a Wall Street powerhouse. That card, I framed it on my bunk. Kept me warm on those fluorescent-lit nights when the rage boiled over into something sharper. Something surgical. My name's Quinn Voss. Yeah. Voss as in half the firm's name, the half he kept after screwing me over. I was the rainmaker, the one who charmed the hedge funds and closed the billion-dollar mergers, while Harlan played the brooding visionary, sketching out disruptive strategies on napkins that somehow always lined his pockets deeper. We met at Columbia Law. Two kids from nowhere, me from a Rust Belt trailer in Ohio. Him from some faded Boston blue blood family pretending they weren't broke. We were fire and gasoline. Unstoppable. Until the SEC came knocking. It started with a whisper in the vents of our trading floor, irregularities in the offshore accounts. Nothing major at first, just a few million funneled through Cayman shells that looked a little too cozy. But I trusted Harlan. Blindly. Stupidly. When the auditors flagged it, he pulled me aside in the executive washroom. Tie loose. Eyes wild like a cornered wolf. Quinn, it's nothing we can't fix. But if it blows up, it'll tank us both. You cover for me on the filings, sign off as lead. I'll handle the cleanup. His voice was velvet over gravel. That patented Harlan charm that made you believe he could rewrite the stars. And I did it. Forged the signatures. Buried the discrepancies in a labyrinth of footnotes.
Why?
Because he was my brother-in-arms. The one who'd pulled me from the gutter when no one else would. Loyalty. They call it. Suckers pay for it. The feds didn't buy the footnotes. Raid came at dawn. Black SUVs screeching up to my brownstone in the village like a bad cop show. Harlan was conveniently in London for client meetings, his alibi airtight.
Me?
They dragged me out in pajamas. Neighbors gawking from their stoops. The trial was a circus, tabloids screaming, Voss betrayal, Wall Street's fallen queen. My lawyer, some overbilled hack, painted me as the mastermind, but even he couldn't hide the fear in my eyes. Guilty on all counts. Wire fraud. Securities manipulation. 5 years at Alderson. The camp cupcake for white-collar witches like me. No conjugal visits. Just endless hours in the yard. Staring at razor wire and wondering how the man who'd sworn we'd conquer the world together could watch me burn. Harlan visited once. Drove up in his Audi. Fresh shave. Looking like he'd aged backward. Sat across the plexiglass. Phone to his ear. Droning about how the firm was thriving without me. We're up 40% in assets under management.
Quinn.
Named a new partner, Elena. You remember her? Sharp as a tack. Elena. The junior associate I'd mentored. The one who'd batted her lashes at him during late-night closings. I pressed my palm to the glass. Voice steady. Tell me you didn't. He just smiled. That crooked half-grin. Had to move on. Darling. Business waits for no one. Then. Casual as ordering takeout. Oh. And the board's blacklisted you. No events. No networking. Clean break.
Banned.
From my own legacy. he hung up with a wink, leaving me to the echo of the slamming door. That visit? It was the hook that sank deepest. Not the betrayal itself, that was inevitable, like gravity for men like him, but the ban. As if I were a virus he needed to quarantine. I spent the next 3 years plotting, not in frantic scribbles, but in quiet architecture. Law library became my war room, devouring case law, financial regs, corporate governance tomes. Inmates thought I was nuts, trading cigarettes for annotated copies of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. But I wasn't building a shank, I was building a scaffold. Tall enough to hang him from without getting my hands dirty. Parole came early, good behavior,
they said.
Clean slate at 35. Stepping out into a world that had tick-tocked past me. New York hadn't changed. Same honking cabs. Same steam rising from grates like ghosts of bad decisions. But I had. Shaved my head to stubble. Traded power suits for hoodies and jeans that hid the prison ink on my knuckles. Voss in block letters. A reminder etched by a lifer with a steady hand. First up, a walk-up in Queens. Cash under the table. Courtesy of a cousin who'd believed my sob story. Second, burner laptop from a pawn shop in Flushing. Third, the email. I didn't rush it. Spent months ghosting through the digital underbelly, dark web forums for whistleblowers. LinkedIn deep dives on Voss and Harlan's org chart.
Turns out,
Harlan hadn't stopped at me. Elena? She'd lasted 2 years before he iced her out over some creative accounting that smelled like his old tricks. Now it was Marcus, the tech whiz kid, whispering to HR about irregularities in the crypto desk. Harlan's MO: seduce, elevate, sacrifice. Rinse, repeat. But the real gold? Buried in a forgotten SEC filing appendix, a footnote I'd signed, but he'd authored. A slush fund, funneled through a Nevada LLC that still pinged with quarterly transfers.
Million?
Siphoned to a trust in his dead mother's name. Ironclad proof. If you knew where to chisel. The event was the hook. Their annual gala at the Plaza, black tie schmooze fest where deals were sealed over caviar and cognac. Invites only, and mine had been revoked faster than a bad trade. Harlan's masterpiece, the V&H Visionary Summit, where he'd preen as the firm's savior, toasting to integrity and innovation. I pictured him there, arm around whatever fresh meat he'd promoted, regaling the room with tales of resilience. My RSVP? Declined. With a note, Quinn Voss regrets she is unable. Enjoy the view from the top, it's lonely up there. But I wasn't done RSVPing. The laptop hummed like a co-conspirator in my dim Queen's kitchen, fluorescent bulb flickering overhead like a guilty conscience. Rain lashed the fire escape, a New York lullaby for the sleepless. I'd hacked the firm's email server, not some Hollywood keystroke frenzy, but patient phishing through a temp's LinkedIn vanity page. Weak passwords. People. Harlan Rules 2020. Pathetic. By midnight, I was in, ghosting through inboxes like a specter at the feast. Harlan's was a shrine to his ego, drafts of his gala speech, dick pics from interns, classy, and buried deep, the announcement email. Partner elevation, welcoming Marcus Hale to the executive circle, CC'd to the board, timed for dawn delivery. I lingered on it, cursor hovering like a guillotine. Marcus. Poor kid, mid-20s. Ivy polish. Eyes like a deer in Harlan's headlights. I'd seen his type. Ambitious. Blind to the knives until they were in their backs. The email praised his innovative risk management, code for the crypto gambles Harlan had greenlit. One tweak, and it became my news for him. But no, I wasn't Harlan. I appended a BCC, my burner address. Then, in the body, after the boilerplate, I inserted, and in a historic nod to redemption and resilience, we proudly announced the reinstatement of founding partner Quinn Voss, whose visionary contributions continue to shape our future.
Send.
The whoosh echoed like a gunshot in the empty apartment. I leaned back, heart thumping against my ribs, tasting stale coffee and vindication. Dawn broke gray over the skyline, and by 7 a.m., my inbox lit up. Not from Harlan, oh no. He was too vain for early birds, but from Elena. Quinn, is this real? Harlan's going nuclear. Attached, a screenshot of the board Slack channel, exploding in emojis and all caps. WTF? From the CFO. Legal review stat from compliance. And Harlan? A voice note, forwarded by some sympathetic drone. This is sabotage. Voss is a felon barred from practice. Shut it down. I played it on loop, his voice cracking like thin ice. Ban me. Had he? From the firm I co-founded. The empire I bled for? The email wasn't a hack, it was a resurrection. By noon, the trades were buzzing. Voss and Harlan shocker. XCon founder returns? CNBC looped it between Tesla dips and Fed whispers. Harlan's PR machine spun like a top press release denying unauthorized alterations, but the damage was viral. Twitter, X, whatever, lit up with Voss redemption. Armchair lawyers debating my parole terms like it was the Super Bowl. I didn't gloat.
Not yet.
Slipped into a bodega for a burner phone. Called an old contact. Reggie. Exit. Now a PI in the Bronx with a nose for dirt. Quinn Voss. Thought you were ghosting the game. His laugh was gravel and gin. Need eyes on Harlan. Gala tonight, full rundown. He didn't ask why. Reggie's code was cash up front. Questions buried. By evening, his dossier hit my inbox. Harlan's latest play? A $200 mill pipe deal with a shady fintech. Shells nested like Russian dolls. Same playbook, me the fall guy once. Now Marcus teed up.
But the twist?
Harlan's trust, that offshore ghost, was leveraged against the firm's line of credit. Pull the thread, and the whole sweater unraveled. Dusk painted the city in bruised colors as I cabbed to Midtown. Hoodie up, blending into the tourist crush. The plaza loomed like a wedding cake for wolves. Red carpet unrolling under crystal chandeliers. Security was tight, buzzing detectors. Clipboards clutched like shields, but I wasn't crashing. I was haunting. Slipped a valet 50 for his vest. Badge gleaming event staff. Inside, the air was thick with Chanel and cigar smoke. Laughter ricocheting off marble like hollow bullets. I ghosted the edges. Tray of champagne flutes balanced like a prop in my revenge play. There he was. Center stage in the ballroom. Harlan Voss, no. Harlan goddamn king of the hill, holding court by the Steinway. Tucked sharp as a switchblade. Silver at his temples catching the light like fool's gold. Elena hovered at his elbow. Her smile brittle as Rice Krispies. Whispering furiously. Marcus, the Mark, stood a step back. Puppy eager. Oblivious. Harlan's eyes scanned the room. Predatory. Landing on every power skirt and corner whisper. Then, like a shark scenting blood, he stiffened. Our eyes locked across the sea of sequins.
Mine.
Flat as a blade, his widening to saucers. Quinn. The word slithered out. Champagne flute pausing midair. The circle hushed, heads swiveling like meerkats. I set the tray on a passing busboy's cart, straightened my vest, stolen courage, and stepped forward. "Miss me, partner?" My voice carried, low and laced with rust from disuse. Gasps rippled, phones slipping from manicured hands. Harlan recovered fast, that chameleon smile snapping into place. "Security," he barked. But it was theater, his eyes screaming questions, fury bubbling under the varnish. They came, 2 gorillas in ill-fitting suits. But I didn't run. Held up my phone, the email glowing like a talisman. "Check your spam, Harlan." Or better yet, the boards. "Seems they've got a new partner announcement." His face drained to chalk, realizing the hook I'd set. The room fractured, whispers to shouts. Elena peeling away like a smart rat. Marcus blinked, piecing it, his elevation, now tainted. "This is insane," Harlan hissed. Close enough I could smell his aftershave. Mint over malice. "You're poison. 5 years didn't teach you that." I leaned in, breath ghosting his ear. "It taught me how to brew it." Then, louder, for the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, to Voss and Harlan, may our secrets stay buried or rise like the dead." Laughter. Nervous. But it spread. Champagne bubbling over the tension. Security gripped my arms, but gently. Too many witnesses. Too much spectacle. As they marched me toward the exit, Harlan's voice chased, "This isn't over."
Quinn.
"You'll regret it." I twisted, flashing a grin. "Already did." Once. Outside. Rain slicked the sidewalk. Paparazzi flashes popping like muzzle fire. Reggie waited in a nondescript sedan, engine idling. "You always did know how to make an entrance, Voss." I slid in,
Dripping.
alive for the first time since the cuffs clicked. The gala? It was just intermission. The real show started now. Harlan scrambling, board fracturing, my scaffold rising brick by vindictive brick. But as we peeled into the night, doubt gnawed. Was this redemption? Or just trading one cage for another? Harlan wasn't done. Neither was I. The game's afoot. And in this city of concrete canyons, revenge is the only skyline that matters. Reggie's Crown Vic cut through the downpour like a dull knife, wipers slapping rhythm like a countdown. Midtown's glow receded in the rearview, giving way to the shadowed arteries of the outer boroughs, warehouses hulking like forgotten gods, sodium lamps buzzing hymns to insomnia. "You stirred the hornet's nest good, Quinn," Reggie grunted, lighting a Marlboro with one hand on the wheel. Smoke curled toward the vent, acrid as old grudges. Harlan's calling in markers already. "Got a tail?" I glanced back, nothing but rain-smeared taillights. "Not yet. But give it till morning." He dropped me at the Queen's walk-up, engine rumbling farewell. Inside, the apartment was a monk cell, futon, card table, walls papered in printouts of Harlan's digital sins. I brewed coffee black as my mood, booted the laptop. The internet was a bonfire now, Quinn Voss trending, memes of me as a zombie partner shambling back from the grave. Wall Street's prodigal felon blared the post splash. Comment sections were a coliseum. "She's a thief, lock her up again," versus "Harlan's the real crook, free Voss." Schadenfreude split the crowd, just as I'd hoped. No heroes here, only survivors clawing for the high ground. Sleep dodged me like a marked man. Dawn brought the call, not Harlan, but Elena. Number spoofed. Voice hushed like a confessional. Quinn. It's me. Don't hang up. I didn't. Listened as she spilled. Harlan's war room at the office. Shredders humming overtime. Lawyers circling like vultures. The board spooked. That email? It's got teeth. Triggers a governance review. Marcus is out. Raging. And Harlan. He's unhinged. Blaming everyone. Including ghosts.
Pause.
Breath shaky. He mentioned you taking the fall. Said it like a joke. But his eyes. I could picture it. Harlan pacing his glass airy. Tie askew. Empire cracking under his heels. Why tell me? My voice was wire.
Taut.
Elena laughed. Bitter as quinine.
Because you were right about him.
And maybe
I owe you.
that mentorship? It wasn't just career advice. Subtext hung heavy. Harlan's charm had hooks. I'd pulled her from his orbit once. Back when she was green.
Now.
Payback's current ran both ways. Meet me. Coffee shop on Bleecker.
Noon.
Come alone. Trap? Maybe. But intel's a drug. And I was jonesing. Showered cold. Dress sharp jeans. Blazer. Boots that clicked authority on pavement. The village buzzed with weekend brunchers. Oblivious to the knife fight brewing. Elena waited in a corner booth. Hair chopped short. Eyes ringed like a raccoon's after a bender. You look fierce, she said, sliding over a latte. No small talk. She pushed a thumb drive across the Formica. Everything. Emails. Ledgers. The Nevada LLC docs. Harlan's slush fund. It's bleeding the firm dry. If the board sees this. I pocketed it. Pulse steady. They will. Her gaze flicked to the door. Paranoid. He knows you're back. Hired PIs, yours truly included, till I bailed. Twist. She'd been his eyes. Feeding scraps while skimming her own. I flipped when the email hit. Figured. Why not burn it all? Loyalty's a fickle bitch. In New York's food chain. It's eat or be eaten. We parted with nods. No hugs, too raw for that. Back in Queens. I plugged in the drive. Files unfolding like a house of cards. Harlan's web was baroque. Kickbacks from the fintech pipe. Funneled to his trust. Then laundered through art flips in Chelsea galleries. My signature on the old filings? The linchpin.
But now,
with timestamps and metadata. It screamed frame job. I drafted the poison pill. An anonymous tip to the SEC. CC to the board. With a chaser, my parole officer. For good measure. Evidence of ongoing fraud by Harlan Voss. Exculpating Quinn Voss in prior conviction. Attach the works. Schedule for 5 p.m. Prime shredding hour. But Harlan moved first. My burner buzzed mid-afternoon. Unknown number. Voice like oiled silk.
Quinn.
Let's talk. Him.
Not I.
Just that calculated calm that once closed billion-dollar deals. The Oak Room. 8 sharp. Truce flag. I almost laughed. The Oak Room, our old haunt. Where we toasted the firm's first million. Nostalgia as bait. Why not? I purred. One drink. For old times. The cab deposited me at the plaza again. Irony thick as fog. No gala glamour tonight. The bar was a velvet womb. Low lights caressing leather booths. Harlan nursed to Macallan neat. Alone. Suit rumpled like he'd slept in it.
Seat.
Command. Not invite. I did. Ordering water. Clear head for murky waters. You always were the dramatic one, he started. Swirling amber. That email stunt? Brilliant.
Almost got me.
Lie, his eyes were dead pools. Calculating angles. Almost. I arched a brow. Casual. He leaned in. Cologne a weapon. Boards divided. Half on your head, half $signs in the redemption arc. But you and I, we built this. Walk away now. I bury the tip. You get a payout, quiet. 7 figures. Clean slate. The offer hung. Temptation wrapped in velvet. 7 figures could buy a life. Beach house in the Keys. Books I'd never read.
Peace from the grind.
For a heartbeat, I tasted it, freedom without the fight. Then, the hook twisted. But if you push, his smile thinned to a blade. I go public with arrest. Your prison letters? The ones where you confess to everything? They make for juicy reading. My gut iced. Letters. The ones I'd written in despair. Post-visit. Spilling doubts to a therapist who was his plant. Forged?
No, mine.
Raw and regretful. Twisted to damn me deeper. He'd kept them. A nuclear ace. Checkmate? Not quite. I sipped water. Cool as a cucumber in hell. You kept those? Sentimental. His laugh barked. False. Insurance. Darling. We all have skeletons. I set the glass down. Deliberate. Mine are plastic, you can melt them. Yours? Real bones. Leaned closer. Voice a whisper. The trust. Your mom's name? Touching. But the feds love family ties. His face flickered. Mask slip. Raw panic. Bluff. But it wasn't. Elena's drive had the coordinates. I stood, tossing a 20 on the bar. Truce?
Nah.
This is check. His hand shot out, gripping my wrist hard enough to bruise, soft enough for deniability. Quinn, don't. We're the same. Lie of the century. I wrenched free, eyes locked.
No. Harlan.
You're the snake. I'm the boot. Door swung behind me. Night air slapping sense back. Phone buzzed. SEC autoconfirm. Tip sent. Game on. Back home. The scaffold trembled. Harlan's next move? Retaliation. Swift and venomous. But doubt crept. Those letters. Had I really confessed enough to sing myself again? And Elena, ally or another layer in his web. The city's pulse throbbed outside. Indifferent. Revenge was a marathon, not a sprint. And I was just hitting stride. Or stumbling into the abyss. Either way, no turning back. The tip hit like a depth charge. Ripples fracturing the firm's facade by Monday's open. Wall Street Journal dropped it first. Voss and Harlan faces renewed scrutiny. Alleged fraud echoes 2020 scandal. No names yet. But the subtext screamed Harlan, with my exoneration as the cherry on the shit sundae. My parole officer called at 8:15. Voice bureaucratic gravel. MS. Voss. We need to chat. Downtown. Noon. Not a request. I dressed for battle, tailored slacks, blouse crisp as new bills, and cabbed to the Federal Building, a concrete monolith that still haunted my dreams. The interview room was a time warp, Scuffed table. One-way mirror. A coffee that tasted like regret. Agent Ruiz, new blood. Latina fire in her eyes, slid across a file thicker than my rap sheet. Walk us through it.
Voss.
The frame job.
No cuffs.
No Miranda, just questions. Probing like dental picks. I laid it out. Harlan's pitch in the washroom. The forged sign-off. His London vanishing act. The drives files? She'd already seen, my tip had legs. This could reopen your case, she said. Pen scratching notes. Exculpatory evidence. But cooperation's key. Testify. The word hung. A fork in the road. Testify. Drag Harlan to the stand. Air the rot. Maybe shave my record to misdemeanor mist. Or walk. Let the machine grind him slow. Stay shadows. If it buries him, I said finally. I'm in.
Ruiz nodded.
Satisfied. Good. Harlan's lawyering up, top shelf firm. Ironic. But cracks are showing.
Elena Torres?
She's singing like a canary. Ally confirmed. As I left, sunlight slanting through blinds like prison bars, my phone vibrated, unknown. Harlan's proxy? Or worse, it was Marcus. Voicemail.
Verdangtik ian clip, Queen.
It's Hale. Harlan's pinning the crypto mess on me. Says you put him up to it.
Meet?
Please. Kids sounded wrecked.
Cornered.
Sympathy tugged. Echo of my own dawn raid, but pity's a luxury in this game. I texted coordinates. Derelict pier in Red Hook.
Twilight.
Neutral ground. Waves lapping like whispers. The pier jutted into the harbor like a broken finger. Gulls wheeling overhead in judgment. Marcus arrived in a beater Honda. Tie gone. Shirt untucked, far from the golden boy. You look like hell, I greeted, leaning on a rusted rail. He paced, words tumbling, Harlan's unraveling. Fired half the desk. Hold up rewriting history. Blames you for the email. Me for the leaks.
Pause.
Eyes pleading. Was it you? The tip? Half-truth time. Guilty. But he's the architect. I pulled the drive's printouts, slush fund trails. His trust's dirty laundry. Marcus scanned, face paling.
Jesus.
This tanks the pipe. Then, the ask, help me flip? Immunity deal? Ambitions afterburners. I almost laughed. You're playing checkers?
Kid.
Harlan's chess. But I saw the out, Marcus as witness. Bolstering my testify. One condition, go public. Tonight. Ex post. Full download. He balked, career suicide, but nodded, desperate. We parted as unlikely bedfellows. The East River churning secrets below. Back in Queens, I monitored the feeds. Marcus's thread dropped at 9 p.m. Files attached. Vostruth hashtag blazing. Retweets snowballed. Analysts dissecting. Rivals circling. Harlan's Twitter? Silent. Avoid screaming volumes. Midnight brought the hammer.
Doorbell buzzed. Urgent.
Insistent. Peephole. Suits. Badges glinting. FBI. Not local. Quinn Voss?
We need you downtown. Now.
Heart slammed. Ambush? Harlan's counterpunch? Cuffed loose for processing. The ride was a blur of sirens and shadows. Federal lockup. Not the plaza suite. Holding cell. Concrete bench. The stink of fierce sweat from prior guests. Dawn interrogation. Lead agent. Grizzled vet named Kowalski. Tossed photos across the table. Not Harlan's face, mine. Prison yard shots. Timestamped year 2. Care to explain the shiv? Blade.
Crude.
Hidden in my bunk. My stomach dropped. Planted.
Lie?
Half. I'd traded for protection. Never used, but optics?
Deadly.
Kowalski leaned in. Breath stale. Harlan's people slipped it. Frame within a frame. But here's the rub. Your letters. We pulled M. Confessions matched the old case. Word for word. The room spun. Those letters, raw vents to his therapist, twisted now as gospel. Harlan's ace. Played vicious. Leaked to feds. Painting me as recidivist. He's burying me alive, I whispered. Rage crystallizing. Kowalski shrugged. Or saving his skin. Your call, roll over on him full. Or we both drown. Ultimatum. Testify deeper, names, dates. The washroom whisper, or face new charges. Conspiracy, witness tampering. Hours blurred. Lawyers phoned in. Ruiz looping back with counterintel. Elena had flipped harder, corroborating the frame. But Harlan's war chest bought delays, motions, injunctions. By noon, I was released on my own wreck, but tagged, ankle monitor, curfew, the Scarlet Letter 2.0. Stepping into daylight, paparazzi swarm hit like locusts. Quinn, you framing Harlan now. Flashbulbs seared, questions a gauntlet. I pushed through, silent, hailing a cab to nowhere. The monitor itched like accusation as I holed up in a midtown no-tell. Cash. Fake name. Laptop open. Feeds a frenzy. Firm shares tanking 15%. Board ousting Harlan in emergency vote. Victory?
Pyrrhic.
My phone lit. Marcus. Ecstatic. It's over. He's out. Then Elena. Run. He's not done. Last. Harlan, direct line. Voice poison calm. Nice try.
Partner.
But the letters? They're just the appetizer. Enjoy the view, from the bottom. Crescendo building. But the high note cracked. Doubt flooded. Was I the villain now? Dragging innocence like Marcus into the pyre? Harlan's rot spread. But my fire, was it cauterizing? Or consuming? The city's hum mocked me through thin walls. Tomorrow. Testify or fold. The scaffold loomed. But whose neck was the noose for? Testimony day dawned toxic. Smog choking the skyline like unspoken sins. The courthouse in Foley Square squatted like a judgment throne. Steps worn smooth by the damned. I arrived early. Ankle monitor a lead weight under slacks. Flanked by Ruiz and a pro bono shark named Lila, fierce. Freckled. With a Rolodex of Wall Street scalps. Breathe. Voss, she murmured, adjusting my lapel. Harlan's team will gut you. Stick to facts, frame. Files. Fallout. Facts. As if revenge had room for such tidy things. The hearing was closed door. No circus, just suits, scribes, and the hum of fluorescent fate. Harlan sat across the oak divide, composed as a corpse at a funeral. His lawyer a silver-tongued fox from Cravath. Opening salvos flew, his side painting me as vengeful harpy. Letters as self-incriminating rants. Mine countered with the drive, ledgers projected on screens. Elena's affidavit scrolling like indictment scripture. Then,
My turn on the stand.
oath sworn. Eyes locked on Harlan's. He asked me to sign off. Said it'd save us both. Voice steady.
But inside?
Storm surge. Cross-exam was vivisection. MS. Voss. These letters, your words. I orchestrated it all. The greed consumed me. Care to retract. The fox pounced. Letters enlarged. My scrawl damning. Harlan's gaze bored in. Smug as a cat, with canary feathers. I paused. Throat dry. Truth time. Those words. Born of isolation. Twisted doubt into confession. Context, I said. Meeting the room. Prison breaks you. Harlan knew. Fed the doubts through his plant. Gasps minimal. But the judge leaned forward. Brow furrowed. Rebuttal. Marcus. Pale but poised. Detailing the crypto setup, Harlan's hand steering. His as puppet. Elena followed. Voice cracking on the mentorship betrayal. The late-night favors that bought silence. Harlan's mask slipped then, jaw clench, eyes darting like trapped prey. His lawyer objected furiously. Hearsay. Vendettas. But the files spoke louder. Metadata, a noose tightening. Recess hit like a gut punch. Lila pulled me aside in the hall. Coffee steam curling like signals. You're gold. But those letters. Jury's out. Literal, advisory panel. Influencers in the shadows. Harlan passed then. Close enough for a whisper. You testify full. I bury you deeper. Walk. And we split the firm 50-50. Clean. Temptation redux. Laced with threat. His eyes pleaded now. Cracks in the armor. For a fractured second, I saw the Columbia kid, the dreamer who'd hustled with me over ramen and casebooks. We're the same.
Quinn. Flawed.
Forgive. The word landed like a live wire. Forgive, after the cell. The ban. The scaffold I'd built from his bones? But the twist gnawed. My fire had scorched Marcus's prospects. Elena's trust. Even the firm's innocence, associates pink-slipped in the fallout. Was I avenging? Or ascending his throne of ash? Heart hammered as we reconvened. Final push. I took the stand again. Unbidden. Your Honor. Counsel, one addendum. Silence blanketed. The letters?
Real.
My regret. Not guilt. But Harlan. I turned to him, voice carrying like a verdict. He didn't just frame me. He broke us. The firm. The dream. Poisoned for his greed. Harlan paled. Objection dying on lips. Then. The bomb. I withdraw the deeper claims.
No conspiracy.
Just fraud, his alone. Gasps real now. Lila's eyes widened betrayal, but I pressed. Prosecute the books. Not the grudges. Let the feds sort the rest. Chaos erupted, his lawyer crowing mistrial.
Mines puteringa pels.
Judge banged gavel. Recess indefinite. Harlan lunged forward in the scrum. Face thunderous. What the hell?
Quinn?
Mercy now. I held his stare. Close as lovers or killers. Not mercy. Checkmate. The letters? They'd haunt me. But twisted right. They humanized flawed founder. Not felon fiend. Harlan's empire crumbled sans my pyre. He'd face the music solo.
Nos kapkoktschild.
Outside. Rain cleared to reluctant sun. City exhaling. Press mobbed. But I slipped through, Lila's arm a shield. Bold move, she said, hailing a cab. Split the crowd, hero or fool? I shrugged. Ankle free by week's end.
Parole creded.
Both. That's the point. Epilogue unfolded in fragments. Harlan indicted. Plea bargain to 3 years. White-collar timeout.
Club fed.
Firm rebranded Voss Hale. Marcus at the helm.
Anatole. Me?
Silent partner. Dividends trickling like atonement.
No gala invites.
But the board's email? Honored reinstatement. I declined, goes to the game. Opened the consultancy in Brooklyn. Ethics audits for the greedy. Payback's wage. But nights. In my village brownstone reclaimed, scars and all, the doubt lingers. Was it revenge or redemption? Harlan's last letter from lockup. You won.
Partner.
But did we? And signed. But his flourish unmistakable. I burn it. Watch flames dance. The city's answer, ambiguous as dawn. In America's grind, no one's wholly right or wrong. Just survivors. Debating the cost till the next deal drops.